Hello, most awesome Sims 2 fans. Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Tipsy Mommy Shark. Today, we are building the exterior for 3 brownstone apartments. But first, we're going to deal with a walkout livable basement. This is going to be the newest addition to our Sim York, which is heavily inspired by the time that I lived in my beloved New York City. I'm also going to tell you how to get this build for your game with limited custom content absolutely free. Stay tuned to see me battle my basement blues and for stories of Sims in the city. So let's get started. Not long ago, I saw some awesome videos about walkout basements in The Sims 2. I don't know how many of you are like me, and as soon as you see something like that, you think, that can't be too hard. And that is always my first mistake in The Sims 2. And then I begin on a project that is something like a reverse nailed it episode. But not long after that, I started thinking about when I would walk around New York City and lots of buildings have walkout basements. But then I started having visions of brownstones dancing in my head. I will put a link in the description below for the video that helped me the best with doing walkout basements in case you want to do one. I edited almost everything that I did out of here because I am sure I was no help at all to anybody who wants to follow me. At first I dug too deeply and too greedily, and then I pulled the whole thing back up because what you need to do is have a regular wall tool connect to your open basement that you see here in the video in front of you. And unless it is just right, like Goldilocks and the 3 bears, the thing will not snap. And that is what I had to play with. And until I got it just right, it wouldn't snap. And at first, I didn't even realize that that was the problem that was going on. And I kept making my floor go up and then making it go down. So that is the only hint that I have really learned from this. I couldn't even tell you how much you have to go up and how much you have to go down. But now we can continue to build after I finally got the front wall for our basement. For those of you new to my channel, this series was created because I've been missing my New York City. So I just took a basic downtown that was attached to Pleasant View and turned it into a thriving metropolis. Of course, I used tons of custom content with neighborhood decor and then started recreating buildings that I remembered from my time in Manhattan. Should you want to create your own Sim York, many of my builds, including this one, are available for free that you can download to your game on my Patreon page, which is in the link. It is linked in my description down below. Now we're going to pause for a little Sims in the City gossip, shall we? So one of the poor souls that I am forcing to live in one of the basement apartments is none other than Marcy Christie. I created her for a brief cameo in my Camp Blood video. I don't know that you'll remember her by name, but she was just a teen running from danger, trying not to die for YouTube content, and she luckily survived. So fast forward for her prize, I forced her to grow up and she is full of now dreams and trauma, and her lifetime want is she wants to be on the stage. So what better, I shipped her straight to Sim York where she can be a struggling artist because, of course, if you're not struggling, you're not even an artist in The Sims, correct? So welcome to your basement apartment, Marcy, where rent is cheap and your hopes and dreams are as well. We will get back to the other Sim that I have living in one of the upstairs apartments in a moment. I always have a part of the project that makes me question my life choices. For this build, I was sure it was that foundation, but we've survived. It was a nightmare. Then came the stairs. In my vision, I have 3 beautiful brownstone apartments on the upstairs and 2 apartments downstairs. In my vision, I need 3 sets of stairs for the brownstones coming off the front and 2 sets of steps winding for the downstairs apartments. And I just refused to give this up because that was how I had been walking in New York and was always seeing these apartments, and I wanted it to be as close to that as possible. Also, I did not, while this was going on, want to use mods or custom content to make the steps work. There are mods that you can have open stairways that Sims can walk under them, because I wanted this to be as custom content free as possible, so that should any of you want to download this, you're not bogged down by mods or custom content that you might not want in your game. Speaking of being bogged down, the other Sim I'd like you to meet is Malcolm Landgrabb. I moved him here from Blue Water Village because, let's be honest, he needed to be where the action was. I am not sure how they stuck a big shot like Malcolm in that quiet little town when all the drama, gossip, and high society chaos is happening here in my Sim York. Okay, I guess that was a little bit over the top, but you know, it is Sim York. So anyway, he's going to take one of the prime brownstone apartments for now. Big windows. It's got a great central uptown location and enough space to pretend he's thriving in the city. And let's be honest, Malcolm is the kind of Sim who's already imagining an upgrade. Actually, I kind of feel like these places are a little too small for him. So his real place needs to get ready, but I thought they were nice enough while he's waiting for me to finish something that is at his level. So he is waiting for his place to get redecorated. But why did I need him here? Little teaser. I'm working on actually 2 Christmas villages this year. The one is going to be just functional, download, custom content free for you all. But the other one is going to be that Malcolm is an owner of, because I hate that I wanted you to be able to go to the Christmas village and buy your Christmas stuff. And the only way you can do that is if somebody is a business owner, and then you can be buying the things. I thought, what better person to be making all of these cutthroat purchases in the city than Malcolm Landgrabb. So not only is he living where the action is, he's thinking of seasonal domination. So get ready for that. With Malcolm being settled, or at least pretending to be, we need to head back to my building. I am putting brick on the first of our 3 upstairs brownstones, and we're going to head back to talk about, yes, the stairs. Let's talk about the upstairs apartments first. You see me solve that issue by flooring tile placement. If I use 4 flooring tiles at the doorways, that made it long enough that the stairs did not block the lower level, and your Sims can walk completely underneath there. And for our basement stairs, it was that wonderful platform tool, which gives me access that I need. You can have part of the stairs come down and turn into the side, and there was plenty of room, and that solved all of my flooring issues. You would think that that would be something you just instinctively know, but it was a lot of trial and error, and I think it ended up looking wonderful. To the middle brownstone. This is going to be the stage of the build that I honestly live for. I feel this is the moment when everything finally starts to look less like a crisis and more like my vision. Once I start adding colors and trim, it's less like a puzzle or something vague, and it becomes more like the place that I envisioned. It has the charm. It needed to have a little bit of expensive attitude. You know, the kind that says, yes, the rent does hurt. Thanks for asking. But here's the thing about New York brownstones. They have style. Real New York brownstones come with the whole package. They have history, drama, and if you look at them, decorative roof lines, the kind that silently judge you for not recycling correctly. I adore The Sims 2. And it tries, but it did not come with the I am outrageously overpriced trim set that I was looking for. So as much as I did not want to have much custom content in here for you, I did go wandering off in search of roof friezes that I felt would look right on this building. And thanks to my favorite Sims 4 to 2 conversion wizard, the great Lord Crumps, I found the perfect decorative roof trim, sure to convince my neighbors that this building was most likely built before elevators existed. You're gonna see actually the switch in my final pictures, and I'm gonna add the link to get these glorious items in my description down below. I am going to add a little bit of greenery to our lower level of our brownstones, and that's because I used to love walking in New York City. Pay attention to tourists. They tend to stare up at the skylines, and the buildings are gorgeous and even overwhelming. But just look down because it can be magical. The brownstones always reminded me of having hobbit holes underneath them, because sometimes the doors would be tucked underneath the staircases, and then the tiny patios could be overflowing with plants, and it was like a whole other world would be underneath the sidewalk. And I wanted that for our little brownstone, and I couldn't recreate that obviously completely, but I wanted it to have that feeling. Now, here is the real question. Would you live in the cozy, artsy hobbit hole with Marcy, or are you going to claim the upstairs spot with our social climbers? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed hanging out in Sim York with me today, take a moment to like and subscribe. It helps more than you know and tells Malcolm he is not the only one trying to take over the world. I want to thank you all for watching. Happy simming, and bye-bye.